Hello and welcome to The One Show.
I'm Callan Jones.
And I'm Alex Pinch, and today we will be talking about Nye and Bevan and how he impacted Wales and modern British society.
Nye was a famous Welsh socialist. He felt strongly about a British welfare state and campaigned resolutely alongside his wife Jennie.
Tonight we are joined by director Gaynor Styles and actor Gareth John Bale. More from our guests later, but for now we go to our reporter Brad Moses, who will give us an insight on one of Wales' most inspirational couples, Nye and Jennie.
Nye and Bevan was a significant figure in Welsh politics and Welsh culture. He was known for being the founding father of the NHS, which came into being on the 5th of July 1948. Born in the small town of Tredegar on the 15th of November 1897, he was one of the 10 children born to Phoebe Fawr. Bevan was not particularly academic at school, and his overall performance at the age of 13 was so poor that his headmaster made him repeat a year. Despite what seemed like academic failure in his early life, Bevan went on to achieve great things. At 19, he became the head of his local miners' lodge, and seen as a troublemaker by his employers. In London, he studied economics, politics, and history, and studied Marxism greatly. Developing his left-wing political output, he remained at college until 1921. Upon returning home, he founded Tredegar Iron and Coal Company, refused to re-employ him. In 1926, he found work again, this time as a paid union official, and was paid a wage of £5 a week. His new job arrived in time for him to head the local miners against the colliery companies in what would become the general strike. Later on, in 1928, Bevan won a seat on Monmouthshire County Council, and with that success, he was picked as the Labour Party candidate for Ebbw, displacing the sitting MP, and easily held the seat at the 1929 general election. In 1934, he married fellow socialist MP Jennie Lee. Jennie Lee was a Scottish Labour Party politician and was a Member of Parliament from a by-election in 1929 until 1931. Together they fought for socialism, both loved and loathed by their fellow MPs. Life together saw their love deepen and mature through the founding of the NHS and the trials and tribulations of the 1950s. Bevan became ill and checked into hospital in 1959. The discovery of stomach cancer led to his death in July 1960 at the age of 62. Following Bevan's death, Jennie remained committed to political and social change. She played a leading role in the foundation of the Open University, where enrolment was for everyone, irrespective of qualifications. The Open University was realised due to Jennie's unflagging determination, which saw applications open in 1970. In the same year, she retired from politics. Jennie died in 1988 from natural causes at the age of 84. United by the drive and determination for social change, they really were the working class tale of life, labour and love.
We are lucky enough to have with us Gaynor Styles, a renowned director, and Gareth Bale, an actor who was featured in productions such as A Viking Saga, The Darkest Day, who are both in the production of Nye and Jennie in the Metropole in Ebbw. Welcome to the show, Gaynor and Gareth.
Thank you.
Gaynor, after producing over 30 productions for Theatre and Annog, you must feel as though you've done it all. So what specifically attracted you to the story of Nye and Jennie?
I think it was more to do with the fact I grew up in Merthyr, so I was very aware of Nye and Bevan and his legacy, but I didn't know about Jennie Lee. I didn't know anything about her. So I'm always intrigued by things and sort of curious about people I don't know about that have achieved great things. So that's what I sort of decided this could be a great play, especially during, I know next year is the NHS celebration, but I thought it would be a different look at that subject matter.
Nye's life is full of milestones that shape the welfare state. How did you incorporate all of Nye's achievements in the story of Nye and Jennie?
That is really difficult because he, like you said, it's like a huge amount of things that he achieved. And so we were very judicious about that. And I think the big thing for me was that we look at them as people. I think if you have, we're sort of, with all the politicians and things like that, I think it's just to see what makes them tick as people. And I think it was very important for me to have a look at that relationship and the love story of Nye and Jennie.
As we know, Nye and Bevan is a huge part of Welsh politics. So what do you think telling the story from the couple's point of view brings to the audience?
I think that anybody who has loved and have lost someone and who grieves for someone can relate to this story. It's a human story.
Our on-foot reporter Brad is at the theatre. Let's see what's been happening on stage.
I'm here today at the Metropole for the performance of Nye and Jennie, where rehearsals are going on right now. Let's go take a look. Behind me are the actors of Nye and Jennie, which is taking place on the 15th and 18th of November. Let's go check out what sound and lighting is used for a production as big as this. Here I am at the lighting rig, which is going to be used to spark the show. I don't think I'm going to make a career out of this, so I'm going to go down to hair and makeup. I'm now here at hair and makeup, where the actors get ready for their big performance. As you can see, there's not many people here right now, and it's a bit quiet, so let's go upstairs to see if we can find any action at the main theatre. I am now joined by Julian Lewis-Jones, a famous Welsh actor. Julian, you must be very familiar with this process, so how do you think the actors are feeling right now?
Well, they've got a week to go. We're going into what they call the technical week, the tech week. So they'll be pretty relaxed at this moment in time. You know, it's what the technical week does is they go out from the rehearsal room where they've rehearsed the play for 3 weeks, and they actually go to the theatre. So they get used to hearing their words, if you like, in the theatre, to getting used to the space. So it goes up a level. They'll still be relaxed at this point in time, but next week, that's when the nerves will kick in.
Thank you, Julian. We now go back to the studio with Callan and Alex.
Thank you, Brad. Gareth, Gaynor, it's fantastic to be able to discuss this production with you. Being Welsh, we've all heard of Aneurin Bevan. He is an iconic figure in Welsh history, and with that must come the pressures of retaining a degree of truth in the portrayal of the character. Gareth, how have you struck a balance between truth and entertainment?
It's a very good question. So, as you say, he was an iconic figure. People certainly know what he heard like and what he looked like. So you have to have an element of that. But the really important thing is to go after the man and what he stood for. And so you don't want to chase a caricature. It becomes cartoony then, an impression of someone. You really just want to go after what he stood for. And that's how I've approached it.
Gareth, having researched the character for some time now, what do you think is the most important aspect of Aneurin's history that you communicate to the audience?
I guess the obvious thing to say is the fact that he is the father of the NHS, and that plays a big part in the play. But what I've enjoyed is discovering the relationship that he had with Jennie Lee. I must confess as well that I didn't know much about Jennie Lee, but it's lovely to see them together as people and the way they interacted. They are these huge politicians. He set up the NHS. She was instrumental in setting up the Open University and was the first arts and culture minister. But what's lovely about this play is that we see them as people, not as politicians.
By the end of this production, what do you both hope you will have achieved for the audience?
I really want people to leave the Met in Abertillery thinking, I could be the next Jennie Lee, or I could be Aneurin Bevan. And I think that, especially for young people, for the generation coming forward, we need those people back. We definitely need those people.
Yeah, and hopefully that they will have learnt a little bit more about the lives of both of them.
Thank you both for taking the time to talk to us today. We are all really looking forward to the production.
Join us next week for another insight into Welsh history.